skill checking is the place still go. Moving in a way, no place, no snow.
Yo, what's up, fight fans? Welcome to the Shocking MMA show. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley fight. I mean, look, it was a hell of a fight. You have to give the kid credit. He's only been boxing for 4 professional fights, and he was able to stay in there with a UFC champion, right? An MMA champion. So Jake Paul, right, a former Disney actor, a former YouTuber, right, that did vlogs and, childish content, stood in with, at one point, the welterweight king of MMA, right? The champion. At one point, Jake Paul, stood with someone that was an MMA champion, the best of the best, the creme de la creme. Jake Paul stood in there, and people hate the kid, but listen, that's not something you do within your 4th professional fight. If you look at people like Ryan Garcia, he didn't fight no champions until his 20th fight, until his 25th fight. Jake Paul's doing it in his 4th fight, and the amount of experience difference. Now, I'm not comparing the two. I'm not comparing Garcia and Jake, but he just got 4th fight. So it's just insane what he was able to accomplish. He's done better than most when it comes to the career-wise and money-making business aspect. Or even Floyd Mayweather looks up to Jake Paul when it comes to that. So you have to give the kid credit. Now, when it comes to the actual fight, you have to understand that Jake Paul outboxed and outclassed Tyron Woodley. Now, a lot of people like to give Tyron Woodley slack. A lot of people want to give Jake Paul, tell Jake Paul that the fight was rigged, or that, Tyron Woodley was paid to throw the fight. But I mean, the way I see it, he just got outboxed. The statistics say that Tyron Woodley got outboxed. MMA and boxing are completely different things. When it comes to MMA, you can't just block and you can't dodge and stuff like that as easily as you wanted to, because let's say you try and dodge a punch, and normally you might get kicked because you might go low and you might be easy to. So you know what I mean. So if in MMA, if you want to block, you can't just block by putting your hand up here. You have to block like that, right? You have to block the punch if it's like a hook or something here, or you can do this, but it's risky because you have so much stuff open. You know what I mean? So if a hook comes, you might do that to block it, but when it comes to boxing, your gloves are huge, so the mechanics are extremely different. So Tyron Woodley's experience when it came in MMA did not really help him when it came to boxing, because the mechanics are different. Now, we have to look at the statistics when it comes to Tyron Woodley as well. Tyron Woodley did have a higher punch percentage, which means less of his punches were missed and dodged compared to how many he threw. But then again, that's expected when you throw 11 jabs. I mean, if you throw 11 jabs, how many of them are you going to miss, right? Jake Paul landed 16 more punches than Tyron Woodley. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Tyron Woodley in the first 4 rounds only threw 4 jabs. So Tyron Woodley boxed for 12 minutes straight and threw only 4 jabs. I mean, that's just absolutely insane. The jab is the most powerful punch in boxing. When it comes to the mental aspect of boxing, when it comes to figuring out your opponent, when it comes to figuring out his tendencies, when it comes to setting up your other punches, when it comes to just annoying, your opponent, sting like a butterfly,
Take the lead.
float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The jab is the stinging punch of boxing, and you have to be using it in order to get the win. So if Tyron Woodley had stuck to boxing fundamentals and had thrown more jabs in there, I mean, Jake Paul threw almost 20 punches, 20 jabs in the first 4 rounds, and Tyron Woodley only threw 4. So when Tyron Woodley was missing the basic boxing fundamentals, he, in a sense, you deserve to lose. You can't disrespect the basic boxing fundamentals and expect to win. Even the worst boxer, if he's throwing his jabs, he's gonna do better than someone that has an extremely powerful overhand right, because the overhand right has to be set up. And in fact, if we look at the punch that Tyron Woodley landed in the 4th round that almost threw Jake Paul through the ropes, if we look at it, you can see he was feinting before he threw the overhand. He was feinting that punch, right, with the jab. So again, if he had used the jab more often, he could have easily won that fight. But then again, when you only throw 4 jabs, you deserve to lose, my man. I don't care if you were a UFC champion, if you had an overhand right, you have to throw more jabs. And if you don't throw jabs, a Disney star is gonna come in there and beat your ass like we saw Jake Paul do. So that's just how boxing works. You can't do what works in MMA and boxing, because boxing is a specialized form of fighting, and so you can't come in there with generalized fighting and expect to do the same. Paul also threw 3 times as many punches to the body. And body punches are extremely underrated. Okay, they are extremely underrated. However, they are extremely powerful because, you know, if we look at people like Canelo, body punches take out the air out of your opponent. It just knocks the air out of them. You know, because you're getting hit right in the lungs, you're getting hit right in the solar plexus. That just knocks the air just out of you. And so when you throw body punches, it slows the opponent down. When you have adrenaline, you don't really feel head punches as much. They hurt, but they don't. You know, if you get hit in the nose or in the eyes, it does hurt a bit. But when it comes to just getting hit with a regular jab or like you know, something like a cross, it doesn't hurt as much. But a body punch to the liver, it's not even your choice. You're gonna go down if you hit him hard enough. And so when Jake Paul threw 3 times as more punches, well then we saw what happened there. You know, Tyron Woodley just, you know, ended up losing the fight because, you know, he was very inactive. I believe some of the inactivity was also because of the body punches that landed. So yeah, end of the day, I believe Tyron Woodley's loss came because of his inactivity. I believe if Tyron Woodley was less inactive, if he had actually threw in more jabs, if he had actually worked the body more, if he had actually, you know, circled around Jake Paul and really just constantly moved towards him. You know, he was a shorter fighter. He should have done something like Mike Tyson, right? Constantly pressing forward, constantly throwing punches, feinting, head movement, all that stuff. If he was just active, moving, like if he just kept moving and just kept his hands, if Tyron Woodley just kept his hands and his head moving, right? Just kept everything moving, man. He definitely would have won that fight. No doubt about it. He would have knocked out Jake Paul. End of discussion. But his lack of inactivity allowed Jake Paul to easily heal back after every single power punch that was landed. It allowed him to work from a distance and allowed him to secure the dub just through points alone. And end of the day, this is boxing, this isn't MMA, and you know, you can't just go in there and take someone down and choke them out. You know, there is points, and the point system in boxing means that if you are inactive, you will lose. If you are inactive in a boxing match and the fight goes to the end, you are going to lose 100%. Doesn't matter how much damage you did, doesn't matter any of that. It's all about the amount of points that you got when it comes to a decision, right? About the amount of punches that you landed, and you know, your overall activity and confidence in the fight. You know, so Tyron Woodley obviously failed in all aspects when it came to that, and his lack of inactivity made the MMA community disappointed. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. This is the first video from the Shocking MMA Show channel. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, because I'll be making more videos just like this every single day. And so I wish you all the best. See y'all later. Bye.